Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Chad here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today, we've got another Gun Gripe episode for you. This one's pretty good. Okay. I say that every time, but this one is about Sleepy Joe. It's about Sleepy Joe. And it's about his plan to end our gun violence epidemic. All right, now this video is going to be relatively beating a relatively old drum and beating a relatively severely already beaten horse. Okay, but it's very pertinent because...
Why do y'all subject yourselves to this abuse?
Yeah, but why do we subject ourselves to this abuse? That's the real question we need to be asking ourselves. How do we keep allowing this crap to happen? I mean, the antis will stop at nothing to destroy your Second Amendment rights. And I know we say this a lot, and we don't want to preach to the choir, so to speak, but it's important that people understand that the Second Amendment in its totality and in its wording and in the spirit of what the Second Amendment is, it's one of the most essential human rights that we have. And dare I say that the spirit of firearms ownership goes even beyond our own borders. I believe that people all around the world should have the ability to defend themselves and the duty to defend themselves. And the Second Amendment rings even more true for American citizens who, obviously many of us are quite engaged in the right to bear arms, clearly. There are people
more and more every day.
And there's more and more every day, and there's never been more people at one time, exercising their rights to self-preservation than there have been now. Just in the last 30 days, I think there's been over 3.5 million NICS background checks. So lots of guns changing hands, lots of guns are selling, and that's just sales at the over-the-counter level. That's not even including private sales and things like that, which are completely, of course, legal and nothing wrong with it. But the Second Amendment is here to stay, and I believe that the argument against the Second Amendment is a extremely watered down and weak one. Dare I say, to the point that the left, and guys, it is the left, okay? We can't call it anything that it isn't, and we can't change it, but the bottom line, it is usually those from the left that are the most anti-gun and the most visibly anti-gun. It's gotten to the point where they can't even change the wording anymore. Like, it's pretty much just this set thing, right? They've got like a set of rules that they come up with for why they think that they should take certain things. And it is a complete laundry list of terrible things that we're going to go over. So let's go over his gun violence epidemic plan, shall we?
I think it's funny that at the top of Biden's website it says, "Battle for the soul of the nation." Well, last time I checked, it was leftists and progressives and all these crazy folks out there that are trying to divide us and ruin this nation. I mean, hey, just food for thought. Like, I'm just observing.
They want your soul.
I mean,
trust me, they want your soul.
I don't see.
It's not in the way. They're not protecting your soul. Let's put it that way.
I mean, I don't see families out there protesting. I don't see nuclear families out there protesting. But hey, whatever. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. All right, there you go. Joe Biden knows that gun violence is a public health epidemic. Almost 40,000 people die as a result of firearm injuries every year in the United States, and many more are wounded. Blah, de blah. All right, you want to talk? I want to talk about one thing real quick. All right, 40,000 people die as a result of firearms injuries every year. All right, you know that these people pad these statistics. Okay, a lot of these firearms injuries and firearms death are suicide. So people that already are thinking about committing suicide, but they just happen to use a firearm, they get wrapped into this too. So the left and the antis would have you believe that these numbers that they put out there are people like dying at the hands of someone with a gun criminally. Like, give me your money, oh, boom, like Batman syndrome here, okay? That is a pure and utter lie, okay? They just wrap all the statistics into one and feed you this little spoon of, coverage and say, here you go, this is what we're feeding you, okay? This is how many deaths are in the year. Does that taste good? Yeah, we don't like it either. Okay, it's just stupid. But like, we go over here to, you can click this link and you can go to this right here. All right, the 15 leading causes of death in 2017 were diseases of the heart, malignant neoplasms, cancer, accidents, chronic lower respiratory diseases, stroke, Alzheimer's, diabetes, influenza, and the list goes on. Nowhere in the top 15 is there anything mentioned of firearms.
And that's published by the CDC.
Yes. All right, so this is the narrative, okay? But anyways, all right, so Joe Biden has taken on the National Rifle Association on the national stage and won twice. In 1993, he shepherded through Congress the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act, or the crime bill. Okay, and let's see, which established a background check system that has since kept more than 3 million firearms out of dangerous hands. In 94, Biden, along with Senator Dianne Feinstein, secured the passage of a 10-year ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. As president, Joe Biden will defeat the NRA again.
There's some typos in there. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
He didn't take on the NRA. I think he worked with the NRA. I think that was a two-way street. Okay, so he acts like he was some champion here, but we've already proven, and this is proven by facts and evidence, and literally it's out there. Okay, the NRA helped champion these two things. Okay, so he didn't beat anybody. He worked with them, like they rubbed elbows. Okay, so that's disingenuous at best. And I'd like to backtrack just a moment there. Go back to your CDC stuff.
Yeah,
there,
sure.
Okay, real quick. So you mentioned Alzheimer's disease, number 6 killer. All right. Look, I want to mention this, and I'm going to be 100% genuine here. Don't take this. I'm not trying to be a jerk when I say this. Look, Biden looks like he's visibly going through some bad stuff, man. You know, and I'm just going to say this. Like, he needs to get some help, and the people that are parading him around and putting words in his mouth.
He's a show pony, man.
He's a show pony, and I think that could literally be taken as elder abuse in a lot of ways. Like, and look, this isn't political. Biden needs to get help. He is visibly unfit, and I just mean that just as a good human being. Like, he looks like he is not well. And it's like one could say, okay, are his mental faculties escaping him? I mean, when you hear him talk, he's all over the place. And look, I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm just saying the guy is visibly and, audibly, he's not there. Okay, something's not right. And the overall issue, I believe a lot of people have as well, is that one thinks that, okay, well, you don't know who his running mate is yet. They haven't announced that. So say that Joe Biden, let's just say, were to get elected president, well, then it's really not Joe that's going to be pulling the strings. It's going to be somebody else because someone else is pulling the strings now. I'm not saying that to be, evil. It's just that
it's the fact of
Joe ain't all there, okay? And even, like, the more and more I hear him talk, the more I think, wow, yeah, there's something, he's not all there. And look, I get it. Like, we get old, our mental faculties escape us. I really do hope that Joe gets some help legitimately. Because, man, it's painful to listen to. It's painful to hear him talk. It is work. It is mental work to listen to him talk. And then the hypocrisy of, oh, well, now all these news outlets all over are covering, oh, we need to just cancel the presidential debate. And now that's the narrative. Oh, well, we need to cancel the presidential debate. Well, of course you want to cancel the presidential debate because you know that Joe Biden cannot debate his way into a sandwich in the kitchen, much less talk about world issues, much less debate a world leader. I mean, come on. If you can't debate a sitting president about things that are pertinent to your country and that are actually something that your finger should be on that pulse to begin with, what makes you think that you can solve the world's problems or deal with, people that are trying to hurt our country or deal with other crazy matters that are outside of just a simple political debate? Come on, man.
Food for thought.
They're using that guy, and that's what's so bad about this.
All right, so with those debates and everything and all that talk, we could talk about double standards, okay, during coronavirus, during all this other mess going on right now, but that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day, okay?
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
But anyways, Biden also knows how to make progress on reducing gun violence using executive action. Okay, so just all kinds of stuff. All right, so like here's a laundry list.
Let's get to the laundry list.
This is the common laundry list of things. Okay, so hold gun manufacturers accountable. In 2005, then Senator Biden voted against the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, but gun manufacturers successfully lobbied Congress to secure its passage, which is common sense legislation. A manufacturer of a given item should not be responsible for its end use and the victims of that end use. I mean, Estwing, if somebody beats somebody's head in with a hammer, Estwing isn't going to be sued into oblivion and out of business because of some criminal activity using their product. Guns should be held in the same regard. A manufacturer cannot control what happens with their firearms. Most gun owners, 99.9% of gun owners, are very responsible and moral people. It's the 0.1% of people out there that use guns as a tool illegally and criminally that make all the bad rap for us good gun owners. And that is fact, okay?
Here's the other issue. Is that, okay, by basically lobbying and voting against the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, essentially the idea there is that they want to be able to have firearms manufacturers get sued out of business.
They want to be held accountable.
Not only do they want them sued out of business, they have people standing by ready to sue them. So it's not like it's some cause and effect thing where, all right, let's pass this bill or let's deny the passing of this bill, whatever the case, and then, all right, let's sit back and see what the cause and effect is of that. No, there's already people that are chomping at the bit to sue because they know the overall economical ramifications that will come from that is that ultimately it will put gun manufacturers out of business, and if gun manufacturers are out of business and they can't make guns, then that's less guns available to Joe Blow, average person, and that's the end goal there.
It is the end goal, and it's one more step to total gun confiscation, okay? What's number one? Okay, let's stop the production of new firearms. So that is the way to do it, okay? And who's to say, if the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act was never put into place, there's many gun manufacturers that would already have closed their doors, and they would just be but a distant memory. Okay,
right.
So this is common sense stuff. Okay, this is asinine to think that this is okay. Asinine. All right, get weapons of war off our streets. The bans on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines that Biden, along with Senator Feinstein, secured in 1994 reduced the lethality of mass shootings. But in order to secure the passage of the bans, they had to agree to a 10-year sunset provision. So that's where the NRA came in, as far as I remember. All right. And when the time came, the Bush administration failed to extend them as president. Biden will ban the manufacture and sale of assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Regulate possession of existing assault weapons ban under the... sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here because this is so frustrating. Regulate possession of existing assault weapons under the National Firearms Act. So, in other words, if you own an AR, a regular old 16-inch barreled AR, or a 20-inch AR, guess what? It would have to be registered under the NFA, you'd have to pay a $200 tax, and it would be treated just like a machine gun, an SBR, SBS, anything else. All right? Buy back the assault weapons and high-capacity magazines already in our communities. Okay? So, these buyback programs, where do they think the money comes from to buy these guns back? You. Taxpayers. So they're just going to...
Using your money to buy back your property that they never owned in the first place.
Yes! Reduce the stockpiling of weapons. In order to reduce the stockpiling of firearms, Biden supports legislation restricting the number of firearms an individual may purchase per month to one. So you can buy one gun a month under Biden's plan. Oh, and look, this is something too.
He's fired up here.
This is something too. Okay, so with any president, doesn't matter who the hell it is, okay? Biden, Trump, whoever, okay? They always have these plans like, this is what I'm going to do as president. Mark my words. Well, the president can't get anything done without the help of Congress, okay? So even if Biden were to get elected and the House, okay, gained a red majority, the Senate retained a red majority, that doesn't mean that Biden's going to get any of this done. How is he going to get any of this done? All these promises that he makes on gun violence.
It's lip service to his constituents.
So it is. It's lip service. But, if Biden gets in and then there's a Democratic wave in the House and the Senate, then guess what? They can just do whatever the hell they want and they will ignore their constituents. I mean, well, and to a certain point.
All right.
So anyways, all right.
Easy killer. Okay, now look, I'll mention something. Yeah, down, boy, down. so look, I'll mention something here. Okay, we'll go back to the original, Clinton ban that sunsetted in 10 years. Okay, there is a unique glimpse into a period of history that we have. Okay, all these people keep calling for, we need an assault weapons ban and all this stuff. Well, listen, here's the thing: we have 10 years of data. All right. They can look back at that 10 years of data and they can see what the ramifications of those actions were and were not. Like, they know how it affected crime, how it affected this, how it affected that, the amount of rifles used in crimes, the amount of pistols used in crimes, the amount of crimes that were committed and the types of crimes they were and the types of people they were committed against. All that data is there. It's known. It's not like it's a mystery. And the overwhelming consensus is that for that 10-year period, that the effects of the crime bill were so negligible and meaningless that it's not even worth the paper it's written on.
They were basically within the margin of error, more or less.
Within a margin of error. So
speaking.
It's not like you're talking some, they want to act like prior to that, it was like gangs or it was like Escape from New York. And everybody's walking around with Uzis gunning each other down in the streets and robbing people, cannibal cults, robbing each other for body parts. And then all of a sudden we pass this bill, and after that, it's just like Beaver Cleaverville now.
It's a utopia now.
It's a utopia
Hi,
now.
neighbor.
That's the reality that they want you to believe, and they want to spoon feed you, but that's not the reality. The reality I live within is a reality of facts and statistics. I care about the statistics that surround it, not some doctored metric that they can make sound one way just by including all the people that their government kills too. I mean, you got to remember, in the gun deaths, that figure also includes police that shoot criminals too. So they're including, the police being involved in shootings. They're including gang violence. Gang versus gang violence. They're including suicides. They're including accidents, mishaps. I mean, there's all this data that gets plugged in there. They can manipulate it any way they want. And even if that 40,000 people a year was really a wholesome and true statistic, it still pales in comparison to the other things that kill Americans on a regular basis that far outweigh that by a huge margin. So
absolutely, basically,
they're complaining and pandering to something that is actually not a problem, and they just want you to think it's a problem, and that's where the difficulty in supporting that certainly comes from. Not to mention that the basic idea of going against gun ownership and going against the Second Amendment is anti-freedom and anti-human rights and anti-civil rights to begin with anyway.
Absolutely. So Joe's going to keep guns out of dangerous hands, talking about the NICS criminal background check system and all, but it's only effective when it's used. So he wants to require background checks for all gun sales. This is basically universal background checks, okay? So no more gun show loopholes. Oh, the gun show loophole. But private sales would require a background check, okay? They'd require a 4473 being filled out for you to sell a gun to a friend.
Oh, but yet they don't know who has them. There's no registry, so they don't know who has what. So that means that, in order for that to work, we have to have a registry now. So it's all cause and effect and opening up Pandora's box to a laundry list of other bad things. It's not the idea what they're talking about, and that's bad enough. It's the things leading up to that, and in order for that to even be effective, that is the problem.
All right, so here's one that I found pretty interesting. Close the hate crime loophole. What? Biden will enact legislation prohibiting an individual, quote, who has been convicted of a misdemeanor hate crime or received an enhanced sentence for a misdemeanor because of hate or bias in its commission, end quote, from purchasing or possessing a firearm. So what happens when the legislature changes the definition of a hate crime and what's punishable as a hate crime to like sharing a meme online or some bullcrap like that, or you saying a certain word
or offending someone?
Or offending someone, that's a hate crime. The Karen and Chad syndrome. I hate. Why do they have to use Chad? Why do they have to use Chad? Why does a male Karen have to be a Chad? What's the deal with that? Why? What did I do to y'all? What did I do to them? All right, anyways, but yeah, the hate crime loophole. So, anyways, Charleston loophole, That's the 3-day background check deal. So, if you go to buy a firearm and your 4473 is delayed, okay, 3 business days later, you are able to come and pick that firearm up because the FBI hasn't done their job, more or less, okay? And most of the time, it's not a big deal, okay? There's very few criminals that are walking into a gun store saying, you know what, I think I'm going to take the chance today and see if I can get that delay, and I can walk out with my firearm. No, they're going to go down to Joe Bob's garage, and they're going to pick up their tube gun that he made in the garage, or his guns he stole from XYZ gun shop. Okay? Criminal activity. Criminal. Let's say it together. Let's say it together, everybody. Criminal.
I'd like to add before we move on that, it is on record too that last year the NRA was greatly in favor of expanding the NICS system and expanding background checks. They were also in support of red flag laws. They wholeheartedly supported the bump stock ban. And this is all known. It's documented. And listen, I will say this as well, is that Trump right now is running on the whole idea of being reelected, at least from the standpoint of thinking that he's got the check in the box from the 2A just because he's got some A+ rating or
from the NRA.
Yeah, he's got the NRA is giving Trump their blessing. Oh, well, he's the gun guy. He's the gun candidate. Well, thing is, when you got a guy like this that is just this blatantly against guns, and then Trump is just neutral and or done, well, his track record has shown, that he may not exactly be the best friend of the 2A. Now, he's just not visibly and you know what I mean, actively anti-gun. But if he's not pro-gun, your silence is deafening too. If you're not doing anything for gun owners, when we all, we had control of the ship, right? Republican-controlled House, Senate, presidency. We had the ability to stonewall anything through that we wanted to related to guns. Hearing Protection Act, National Carry Reciprocity. That is a stain on the Trump administration. Now, granted, sure, they were under political pressure because of stuff that happened in Vegas. Tough cookie, okay? That's not how this works. You don't cave to that pressure, right?
Well, hey, look, also, the initial committee hearings, okay, that were going to happen for the SHARE Act, which included the Hearing Protection Act, okay? The SHARE Act was a wonderful piece of pro-gun legislation, okay, that had been worked on for a long time.
It's not like it wasn't known that people wanted it. It was known.
Do y'all remember the congressional baseball shooting? Okay, the two sides, okay, they get together for like a charity baseball game. They were practicing, okay, and some liberal lunatic came and shot up the baseball stadium where those people were that sat on that commission, okay, that was going to get a piece of pro-gun legislation passed. So it got delayed, it got pushed. And then what happens next time? When it gets through committee and it goes to the House floor for a vote, it might just be coincidence, but Vegas happens.
It's like they know that when they ring the pro-gun bell too hard, that there's going to be some form of ramification. And the people that are the victims in this entire situation are not only the pro-gun Republicans that actually care about passing pro-gun legislation, but also the people who are disenfranchised. Folks who living in America right now that will never know truly what it is to embrace fully the benefits of the Second Amendment and to understand our liberties, the Second Amendment. An entire disenfranchised generation of Americans that don't know what that freedom is to be able to go into a gun store and buy a machine gun or to carry where they want, and for that gun culture to not be a widely accepted and celebrated thing, and instead our culture of disinformation with the media and the media cabal and their war against freedom and conservative values to completely make these younger generation think that it is somehow a terrible thing to be a gun owner. And there's an entire war being fought against that way of thinking. Yeah. And this is only a tiny part of that.
So look, I'm going to read this and I'm going to look something up that I read the other day that's quite interesting, and it's talking about the media cabal and everything. All right, Biden wants to end the online sales of firearms and ammunition, but not just ammunition and firearms. He wants to prohibit all online sales of firearms, ammo, kits, and gun parts. All right.
You realize what percentage of guns that are sold are actually that start their path on the online sector? Like that's the huge component for how a lot of guns are sold is through online portals. And a lot of these people think, oh, you can go online and it's a loophole. You can just buy the gun and it ships straight to your house. Well, all these 3.2, 3.5 million NICS checks, these people are upset when they found out that they couldn't go on some random website and buy a gun and have it shipped right to their house. They're like, oh, well, I thought that's how it worked. And they're getting woke up to the fact that, oh, it's not so easy to buy a gun now, is it? So there is no loophole that involves online sales. It is simply a commerce, an area of commerce that they just want to limit because they want to limit the availability and propagation of those items to people, and they want to remove the ease of access of people being able to shop for these items.
So, speaking of commerce, okay, you want to prohibit all online sales of firearms, ammo, gun parts, kits, things like that, okay? So be it. But do you realize that the legislature, by enacting that law, and the president, okay, potentially, okay, if Biden were president, he signed that legislation, and if it ever got through, okay, he would be killing an industry, for one thing. He would be putting people out of work. So you want to add to the unemployment in this nation? That's the way to do it.
Well, he doesn't care because that's not his constituents.
Hundreds of thousands, millions of people would be disenfranchised and put out of work and put on the unemployment docket over something like this. Okay? And that's a cold, hard fact. These people want to kill this industry, but they say, okay, well, it's okay if they get put out of work. That's okay.
They want to cut the umbilical cord.
Yes.
Altogether.
All right, so talking about the media, MSNBC producer quits. This cancer stokes national division. Facts are too cumbersome for audience. A former MSNBC producer wrote an open letter on Monday explaining why she left the far-left network a little over a week ago, saying they are like a cancer that is stoking national division, by amplifying fringe voices and forcing journalists to make bad decisions on a daily basis. So when we talk about the mass media machine, okay, like Maj always says, Maj Touré, most effective devil in America, media, all right, they put out what they want you to hear based on the agenda that they are given. Journalism is dead. True journalism is dead. There are a few fringe journalists out there that still report the truth, but they are...
And of course, they get labeled as whack jobs.
Yes, and they are pushed over to the deep, dark part of the internet where nobody finds them, okay? They're like algorithmically shunned over there,
Yep.
right? So that crap happens on a regular, daily basis. But you see more and more of this kind of stuff coming out about mainstream media, the networks, and their agenda, okay? And their supposed morals and values and how they report the so-called facts, okay? Withholding the facts, more like it.
Right.
Boy,
I'm a victim of it.
I hate doing these videos. I mean,
I know.
But, people need to know.
But people need to know.
All right. So, create an effective program to ensure individuals who become prohibited from possessing firearms relinquish their weapons. All right, that's another thing. Incentivize state extreme risk laws. So, extreme...
Ask the NRA about that.
Yeah.
They can tell you all about it.
Red flag laws, okay?
Their freaking idea.
So, he wants to incentivize states to pass red flag legislation, okay? Let's see. Give states incentives to set up gun licensing programs. Adequately fund the background check system. Let's see. I mean, the laundry list goes on. Establish a task force on online harassment and abuse to focus on the connection between mass shootings, online harassment, extremism, and violence against women. Expand the use of evidence-based lethality assessments by law enforcement in cases of domestic violence. Let's see. Make sure firearms owners take on the responsibility of ensuring their weapons are used safely. This is pretty interesting. All right. Let's see. Put America on the path to ensuring that 100% of firearms sold in America are smart guns. So, like, okay, you grab the gun. It's like, beep, beep, beep. Oh, welcome back, Chad. It's like somebody else picks up gun. User denied. So, all right.
Not a chance.
Hold adults accountable for giving minors access to firearms. Safe gun storage laws. Okay? Which, all right, look, safe gun storage should be common sense, but it should not be a law dictated to you. Okay? Require gun owners to safely store their weapons, prioritize prosecution of straw purchases, notify law enforcement when potential firearms purchase fails a background check so they can go get him. They can put him in the paddy wagon. You're trying to buy a gun! Require firearms owners to report if their weapons lost or stolen. Stop ghost guns. Reform, fund, and empower the U.S. Justice Department. I mean, dude, it goes on and on and on. There is no end. End.
As we've said in many other videos, and I think that it's quite clear here as well, is that this really isn't about safety, it's about control. They want control of you, okay? There are many, many situations where all of this hypocrisy is spread about the way things are reported and the way that the data is mismanaged and dishonestly reported. That definitely proves that this isn't about what's safe for you, it's about controlling you, and it's about removing dissenting voices. I mean, remember, it's taking a page right out of Karl Marx's playbook, right? That part of establishing what they want for this country in terms of their new world order, their cabal, right? Their socialism, communism cabal that they're wanting to put into place, their religion of that.
Yeah, which the state religion?
It's a state religion. In order for them to put that into place, they have to remove dissenting voices. So right now it's starting out as, censorship and about trying to discredit people that disagree with their narrative, which is happening to me and many others like me on a regular basis.
I mean, of course, like professional, what do they call it?
It starts out as algorithmic destruction. And then it starts to become other things. All right, well, first it's algorithmic destruction. Then it's, all right, well, we're going to try to discredit this person. We're going to censor this person. Then it turns into, well, we've got enough of a grasp of the situation. Now we must physically harm this person who is a dissenting voice. And when you look at, Nazi Germany, and you look at Hitler and the brown shirts, I mean, they went around and they rounded up the political opposition, and they were never heard from again in some cases. That's what they know that they must do. It's a page right out of Karl Marx's playbook. That first, right now, what we see with the censorship and everything is just a saber-rattling phase. And they know that by making people accept widely the fact that they want to take guns under the guise of being for their public safety, the end result really is that, well, by removing the teeth from the snake, you can just go smash his head and there's nothing he can do. So right now, it's starting as a saber-rattling phase with the censorship. They want it to go full-blown to rounding you up and putting you in a camp if you disagree with them, and or making sure you're never heard from again. That's the end result. I know that's hard to accept, and people don't want to, accept it in that manner, but that's the fact. I mean, that's wholeheartedly what I agree the end result is for them.
You know what's amazing to me? The older I get, and especially this year, okay, this year I read a lot. I read news articles and stuff from all kinds of outlets. I mean, I read The Guardian, I read NPR, I read The Daily Wire, I read Fox News, I read MSNBC, I read everybody, okay? You can read 10 different sides to the same story, okay? And you can see in 10 different articles where, only the facts that they wanted to were reported, okay? So you have to read all this stuff.
Both sides are guilty of it.
So you have to read all this stuff to get, even an inkling of what's really going on. But when you read so much about our elected representatives, okay, and 99% of them are on the left of the aisle, okay? These are Democrats, these are liberals, these are progressives. And they sympathize with China over everything that's going on. The way that Trump, okay, Trump's has this kind of angry view toward China because of things that have happened, okay? The coronavirus, okay, allegedly began in China. All facts point to it starting in China and spreading. All facts point to China withholding information, okay, to the world, not just the U.S., the world, okay, in the start of this whole thing, okay? So was the world ill-prepared? Yes, because China withheld information, okay? You see all these liberals who are sympathizing with China and trying to save face with China. Why? Why are they trying to save face? Don't they want to say anything bad about China? Is China in their back pocket? Is China controlling them? I mean, are there things outside of the wheel house that we don't see? What's going on? What's going on? You've got China right now, okay? You've got authorities in China going to, I think I mentioned this in another video. You've got China. I can't even talk because I'm just so frustrated with this. You have Chinese authorities going into poor neighborhoods, poor villages, okay, where people are on state welfare to survive because they're so poor. They have no money. They have no way to survive without the state helping them. And they are telling them and forcing them to remove Christian articles from their homes. Portraits and statues and images of Jesus, okay, the Bible, things like that. They are forcing the state-run religion on them. Who are they having them put on their wall? Chairman Mao, okay? Ever read about Maoism? Mass genocide? Yeah, he's one of those, okay? So they're having them put that image up on the wall and saying, oh, Jesus hasn't done anything for you. Christians haven't done anything. Christianity hasn't done anything for you. Your religion that you believe in hasn't done anything for you. But the state has.
All right.
It makes me think, okay, some of these people are sympathetic to that regime, okay, that communist ideal, that they don't want to say anything bad about it because that's what they ultimately want here. Look at these progressives. Look at AOC. Look at her ideals. Look at the things that she stands for. Look at the things that these people stand for. It's not American. They want to run that socialism and communism experiment here. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It is a experiment that is followed up by more and more failures.
Mass genocide?
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
It's an experiment that's been proven time and time again to fail.
But it makes you think.
It does make you think.
The more you read, the more you think.
So we'll end today's video by just mentioning one thing real quick. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like those data mining operations that they have in China. Look it up. It's really crazy, right? So like you'll see these giant rooms of people in China, and they're sitting with like a quadrant of like a whole bunch of cell phones with accounts on them, and these people will actually like go through and like a bunch of stuff or dislike a bunch of stuff, or they'll go and like comment from a whole bunch of different accounts, right? And they'll try to make it seem like they're paid to push, promote, or
propaganda.
Right, I mean, or to spread propaganda.
It's a mass propaganda
you
machine.
look at some leftist-leaning politician or some leftist-leaning, let's say, news outlet, or even an actor or an actress in Hollywood who has some visibly anti-freedom position, right? And you'll look and they've got, 3 million followers, and they got all these likes, and they got all this stuff. And I almost wonder if that is a data mining operation in terms of, they're hiring these people in China to go and pump them up, make them look better than they really are. And really, there's a huge mass of people that are like, these people are full of crap. But they don't want you to see the dissenting voices. They want to spread the voices that they want to spread, that agenda, and I think that there's honestly a lot of that going on, because some of the stuff you read is so just it's just asinine. Like it makes no sense. And a lot of the comments you read are in broken English. It's not good grammar. So it's like you have to wonder if someone who is not in this country is writing those comments anyway.
Or is it just a Gen Zer?
I don't think so. I mean, a lot of those, like, all right, take your popular news rag or whatever that put out some anti-freedom article, a bunch of terrible stuff or whatever, and just read through the comments. You'll see a lot of those comments. It's like broken English. Stuff don't make sense. And you almost have to put two and two together after a while. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but it's like you kind of have to think that, there's a little bit more going on than meets the eye with this stuff. You can't believe, you definitely can't believe in everything, if not anything the media tells you anymore.
I'm going to tell you what, like lately, in the past several months, like I thought about digging the tinfoil hat out. I mean, I'm serious. It's like there's so many things. You start connecting the dots. I know there's crazy people out there that supposedly they're crazy. They're crazy to the general public or their family, but they've got a big wall, okay? And they've got this board on there, and they've got all these things interconnected, and they're like, you see the connection, you see the connection, you see what's going on over here, you see what's going on over here, and like you don't want to listen to them.
It's becoming a thing, man.
Dude, like it's crazy.
Look, guys, just know the antis are never going to stop. They never rest. They have infinite funding, and their overall goal is definitely not the safety and security of Joe Blow America. They do not care about you. They do not care about your safety. All they care about is control. And as long as you know that, when it comes November, time to go to the polls, that's something you need to keep in the back of your mind. So, guys, look, support Gun Owners of America. Support FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition. Great groups of people. You know how we feel about the NRA. We've made other videos, but I think the NRA is a lame duck at best, if not, dare I say, that a lot of the things they've supported over the years, which they don't deny, right? So say that, for instance, there was some wall of denial, you could totally just go, oh, well, we didn't do that, and here's why. You would do that, right? Like if someone accused you of supporting the 94 crime bill or supporting, the original GCA or whatever, right? All these things. A laundry list of things you can look up that the NRA had a hand in. If there was some way you could exonerate yourself of that, you would do it, right? You would go, oh, well, here's why they're wrong, and here's the proof.
Funny thing is, they haven't.
There is no proof because they did support it. So it's not me being heinously horrible towards some person for a certain reason. It's just the facts that I don't support people that don't 110% get in the fight and actually take the gloves off and bloody themselves up over my rights. And the NRA is not that group. Now, Eric Pratt, Jordan, the guys over at GOA, great people. Of course, FPC doing a great job. If you are donating, to different gun groups, then those are probably the people you need to, send your support to. Just food for thought. Mm-hmm. Guys, have a great day. We appreciate you listening in today. We really, really appreciate all of our viewers, those of you who support us on Patreon. If you buy t-shirts over on Ballistic Ink, We sell a great merchandise box called Man Can. We select lots of great gear that we put into these boxes for you guys. If you love what we do and you wish to support us in putting out these messages, you can certainly do that. Those are the most direct ways you can do so. Lots of ways to do it. So thank you so much. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.